Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Joni Misiak. Today, let's talk about stress. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details of what our bodies do under stress, right? Like it can be weight gain and just so many locked jaw, just so many things. And if you're listening to this episode, you've probably experienced something and you know what stress is and what it can do to your body and your life. So I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to focus more on something I've really discovered recently and then some things that have helped me along the way of stress. Because let's face it, we all have stressful situations in our life. As a mom, like I have stress on a daily basis, for reals. My kids, I love them to pieces. However, like we have emotions in our house and we have things going on and we need to get to this and we need to get to that. So what do we do to help relieve some stress in our life? I'm going to get into that today. However, I want to go back to a moment that just happened recently. I have been cleaning up my eating. I was going on a cleanse of sorts and, of life. And I'm going to talk about that in a different episode. I'm going to go like deep into like what I've learned, and it was really fascinating. But I'm going to talk about the stress part today. So I was eliminating refined sugars from my diet. So I was still having honey or agave or like fruits and things that have higher sugar, but I was staying away from refined anything. Like that was off the table. I'd still want it. So I was having a hard time with that. And I remember in one moment, like one of the kids needed something or they were complaining about something. They were having a moment that, I was trying to breathe through it, trying to do all these techniques to help calm my own self down so I could be at a good place to help parent my child. But I couldn't do it. Like I was just it was like jonesing for this sugar. And I went and had this bite of chocolate. And the moment it touched my mouth, I was like, relieved. I was like, I feel so much better. And that was the moment that I realized that I was leaning on sugar for like dealing with stress. I also realized a little later, a couple weeks after that moment, or maybe about a week after that moment, that I actually have too much candida in my diet as well. So it's overgrown yeast. And that will be a different conversation for a different day. But that was also at play. But it was the moment of stress that made me want the sugar first. Now, obviously, I had this, buildup that's like, feed me sugar. So I had a lot of things going against me in that moment. However, I realized that I was eating to relieve stress, that nothing else was working at that point. So, wow. So the first thing about stress is being mindful. What do we gravitate towards when we are stressed out? What do we do? That's a big one. What do you do first? Do you numb yourself with TV? Get in there and like get all cozy and do like a Netflix, binging of something. And there's no judgment here. It's all about just becoming aware of what kind of crutch, what kind of things we lean on when we're stressed out. Do we grab a tub of ice cream? Do you have like a certain food or alcohol? Do we lean towards that? And it's figuring that out first, unpacking it, because we can't change what we aren't aware of. So first is figuring out, what do you do when you're stressed out? What do you do? And for me, like having that moment where I was like, I needed that chocolate. It was this feeling in me that I never even realized before. And then I was like, whoa, this is happening because I haven't been feeding my body sugar. Now, again, it was layers unpacking this, that there is more to it, but that's what I was doing. I was stressed out, triggered of like, oh my goodness, this is overwhelming. I can't handle this. I need chocolate. So first, it's becoming aware. What do you do when you're stressed out? Because once you know that, you can change how you react to it. Now, it might not be as simple as realizing that. It might take a little effort to change it because habits, good or bad, it takes a little time. But again, first is awareness. And then so it's like, what do you do? So it's coming up with healthier options, things that are, better for our bodies. So a big thing that has helped me, because I had through these past few years, I know stress is my levels of stress are higher than they ever have been. I had to really lean on tools, and then I actually came up with different ones and realized, what was working, what wasn't. So I'm going to give ideas, and then it's figuring out what works best for you. Because here's the thing, I was doing a lot of breathing and meditating and yoga, and all those things are great. But one of the biggest things I realized was that I needed to move my body more. So when I started working out about 6 times a week, my whole thing changed. My mood, my mindset, everything. And the moment I even it wasn't about weight loss or anything. I did it for my mental health. So the moment once you find that tool that helps, and I'm going to be honest, lately I haven't been working out as much. I've been going out for hikes and I've been doing other things, but I haven't been to my Monday to Friday workouts, and I haven't been doing yoga as much. So when we get stressed out and we have so much on the go, we're I have all this to do. I know for me personally, sometimes my workout gets pushed to the side first. And the funny thing is, that's the one thing that helps me stay calm, focused, and less stressed out and overwhelmed. But I let it go, right? So I'm not perfect, and it's just figuring out what works for you, though, and then making a dedication to yourself to do it. And honestly, before I recorded this, I actually went out for a really good hike with a friend. We do a weekly thing, and it's just so good. I feel so good. So it's just finding out what you love to do and doing more of that. Moving your body in loving, awesome ways. Not thinking of it as a place of torture and things like that. But for me personally, working out or moving my body in any way, shape, or form always, always helps me reduce my stress. Always. It's a sure sign, it's a sure way to keep me at a better place. Now, let's say you haven't been, but you're stressed out right in this moment. What can you do? There's definitely breathing techniques. I do square breathing. So it's inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold again before inhaling again. So it's just 4, 4, 4. So inhale and exhale, and then in between there's a hold as well before you do an inhale or exhale. So 4, 4, 4, 4. And it really does help. Or there's a thing, there's a real true thing. How it's I'm going to count to 10, or I'm going to count. And you count as a parent, 10, 9, or you go 1, 2. And even just counting, I always find as a parent that it calms me down. I actually am not doing it to have the kids count down, but they know they're on a clock now. But it also helps me just focus on counting. And it really does shift things as well. So sometimes it's just that simple. Also, in all honesty, lately, we've been getting so much done around the house. It's, spring, and there's so much to do. The windows need cleaning and lots of spring cleaning stuff to do. And I've been feeling overwhelmed. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, at least one of the things I do is I pull out my calendar and I look at all the time I have. Instead of thinking about all the things I have to do. I just did it last week, I think, when I was okay, I was feeling overwhelmed by my to-do list. And I pulled out my calendar. I'm okay, I still have 4 weeks before this all needs to get done because we have family visiting. And I'm it's okay. I have time. So it's looking at it and be okay, I'm freaking myself out for no reason. So sometimes it's just taking a step back, not looking at everything you have to do, but focusing on the one thing. So just focusing on what is the one thing I need to do today. Sometimes that is the best thing ever when you're, stressed out, I have this and I have this and I have this. It's what is the only thing I need to do today? The only thing I need to do today is this. And maybe you have 10 things you need to do in that day. but pick the one that has to happen first and just focus on that. Because what happens is if you focus on all the things and you get tied up in all that, then you actually usually end up getting nothing done. Or at least that's just me. I'll stress myself out and then maybe I'll watch some TV, or I'll just lay in bed longer, or I'll do all these other things to procrastinate because I feel so overwhelmed and stressed out about my to-do list. But in truth is, if I only focus on one thing, I can get so much more done because I'm not stressing about it anymore. I just put one foot in front of the other. And honestly, the only thing I need to do today is work out, because then everything else after that will flow so well. So, and when I say working out, is again doing anything that moves your body. So it can be going for a walk. The weather's gorgeous now, at least here on the West Coast. And it's spring. So it's like getting outside, getting fresh air. Those things are really amazing. So just moving your body in some way it can really just start your day off on the right foot. Now, obviously, your schedule might be different and you might not be able to, and just fitting it in at some point in your day. Because here's the thing. What I've realized on my self-love journey is that everybody's different and we have to find what works best for us. Like for you need to find out what works best for you. I've been tweaking in different things, and sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on the schedule and what's going on in life. But it's figuring out what the schedule works for you. Maybe you have to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, or, just you have so much else going on. That's okay. It's figuring out what works for you. And you can think of it as like a science experiment. You try a routine, for a week or two. It doesn't work out. It's okay. Or you just do little tweaking. It took me a long time to figure out how I wanted to fit things in. And like I just said earlier, I don't always work out on a schedule. I actually hurt my knee over spring break, and it's finally getting better. But my routine for working out hasn't been the same because I couldn't do the things that I normally could do. Now, I went for a hike today with a friend and I didn't have it wrapped. So good sign that I can probably get back to working out on I'll start small and work my way up again. But the thing is, starting my day with that that's what works for me. And any time that I've worked out consistently Monday to Friday has been really good. But again, that's what works for me. Maybe an evening walk after supper. That's my goal, my life goal. Eat supper early enough that we can walk down to the beach after supper. Usually we're running, we're eating supper late and we're cleaning and, but that's a goal of mine, is to have supper early enough that we can go and play at the beach after. So it's, having an idea of what you want and then working towards it, or again, tweaking it as it goes. So that is part of it. And then it's just figuring out techniques that work for you. Meditation is a really good one. If you haven't meditated often or you're new to it, I really encourage you to try. I have one free meditation on my website. And I also have a visualization on there as well. Free, absolutely free. So if you're new and you want to get into that, they're nice short things because I know how busy you can be. And life is, just busy. But it's just a little bit goes a long way. And personally, when I started out, guided meditation has definitely been a really good thing. And what I've been doing lately is I've been doing it with just music lately to try something new. But I usually use guided meditations. So there's a guided meditation on my website, and I'll have that in the description of this podcast. So you can find it there and, try it out if you haven't, or if you need a new meditation and you want to try out, it's there for you. But if you haven't, I really encourage you to try meditating because it's a way to slow down, figure out what's going on in your mind. Where are you stressed out? Maybe you don't even know, but you just feel stressed out all the time. Or you might not even know that you're stressed out, but you are procrastinating. I always find when I am stressed out, I do watch more TV. I'll lay in bed longer. I don't want to get up. I don't want to start my day. There's too much going on. And it's being mindful of those actions, not beating yourself up again. Like, this is not about being hard on yourself. It's just being mindful of what you're doing so you can make small little changes, most likely, to help relieve stress. Now, there's another thing I really want to talk about, and it's super important for helping you manage your stress, and that is sleep. Sleep is super important. Now, maybe you're so stressed out that you're not sleeping, and then that can be a challenge on its own. So just be gentle and loving with yourself. If you're having a problem with sleeping, try and have a bedtime routine. Keep the screens off the best you can. I do watch TV at night, not in bed usually. I try to keep that in the living room. So I do see a screen, but then I have a bedtime routine that I get into, and I check on the kids and things like that before bed. But for me, I find that watching an episode of something helps me get out of my creative. I usually have so much going on in my brain. So it's a nice way to for me to just kind of tell my brain to shut it down. And when I don't do that, when I don't watch something, or I don't read a book before bed, when I don't shift gears, then I have a harder time sleeping. So it's finding a routine, finding again what works for you. And then another big one is make sure it's not too hot, not too cold. And what I've been doing is, if I do find my brain still on, I have this beautiful evening visualization that I do. I just listen to and fall asleep to it. Or I listen to an audiobook that's inspiring, something that's motivational. And usually a big one that I do a lot of the time is actually Dr. Wayne Dyer. He is so calming. His voice is just so amazing. Calm and chill, and his content is just beautiful. Everything he shares is it's a beautiful way to go to bed. So if you're having a hard time, I recommend finding something to listen to or things like that work for you. And it's just figuring out how to turn your mind off. Or another beautiful thing, and I've talked about this before with gratitude, is I actually sometimes just do a gratitude prayer, I'm so grateful for, I'm thankful. I just constantly am thinking about, to myself, I'm not saying it out loud, thoughtful, just constantly thankful for things. And then I just fall asleep. And isn't that a beautiful way to fall asleep? Being just to be just full of gratitude as you fall asleep. It's a really beautiful way. And then you wake up feeling refreshed and grateful. And it's such a beautiful way. So some ideas if you're not sleeping, because sleep is so important. Now, if you're not getting enough sleep because you aren't going to bed early enough or things like that, it's looking at what you can do. I'm not going to go too much into that. It's just being mindful of what you can do. And honestly, I'm saying this with so much love because I have a problem getting to bed on time sometimes as well. So it's just trying to make sleep a priority if it isn't right now, especially if you're stressed out to the max. Because I tell my kids, you can't be at your best if you're not getting enough rest. Oh, I just made that one up, actually. So anyways, I always just say you need enough sleep to be yourself. But you seriously, remember that. You can't be at your best if you're not getting enough rest. Our bodies are constantly repairing and doing really cool things when we're sleeping. And that's another thing too, actually, last thing on sleep is try not to eat before bed, 3 hours. Let your digestive, let it happen before you go to bed. So then when you're sleeping, you can get a good night's sleep and your body's repairing and all things like that. So if you're really stressed out, look at your sleep, see if there's something you can change. It might be small. It's maybe don't look at your phone or be on social media right at bedtime, laying in bed. Maybe make a promise to yourself that you could maybe not even have your phone in your bedroom. Now, I know I use my alarm on my phone, and maybe you do too. So maybe that's not an option. But make a promise to yourself that you won't look at your phone before bed. You won't use it to browse the internet or social media and things like that. I actually found something really cool now that I finally got a new phone. that, and I think actually my old phone might have done it too, but I have it where I set it at bedtime, like in a mode, sleep mode, and the screen goes black and white. Well, there's no late night shopping happening because I don't know what color it is and things like that. And I don't want to really look at my phone a lot in black and white. Brings me back to my childhood when I actually had a black and white TV in my room. That it wasn't like, I didn't grow up in the black and white days, but we had a black and white TV that was small and movable. Anyways, so you can do little things like that remind you like, wait, I shouldn't be looking at this anymore. So I have it actually go black and white about an hour before I want to go to bed. Not about, an hour before I want to go to bed. And I'm like, okay, now it's in sleep mode. You can do that with apps. There's like different things that you can do so things shut down so you're not focusing. So there's a ton of things to do out there. I'm not going to go into everything because then this podcast would be like insanely long. But it's like finding little ways. So if you're not getting enough sleep though, focus on that. Moving your body, sleep. Being mindful of what you're doing when you're stressed out. So like if you're grabbing sugar or other foods or alcohol, things like that, like you're using as a tool, is like, oh, maybe I can replace that with something else. So it's just being mindful. And another one, like I'm going to touch base really quickly, and I kind of talked about it a little bit first, is how it's like, really needing sugar is food. Feeding your body healthy foods. I'm not talking about like, you don't have to go as crazy as I did as, cutting everything out. And one of the biggest things I learned, and like I said, I'm going to go into this all into details later, but one of the things that I found really awesome is just focusing on more vegetables. You don't always have to focus about taking something out, but adding something to it. Because the more you add other things, the less you'll need the other, like the not healthier things. So for me, it's focusing on more vegetables. So I was looking at my plate and making sure that it was at least 60-40. So 60% of vegetables to 40% of everything else. And that shift alone was beautiful. So that's all I'm going to talk about food. Just know that what you put in your body, though, can either help you manage your stress or make it worse. Right? Like a bag of chips, and then you stress about eating the bag of chips or whatever it is, right? Like, you go in this mood, or you go in this mode of like munch, munch, munch. And then you're like, oh, and then you stress out. But our bodies, they need to function with sleep and food that like nourishes our body. It's a whole mind, body, spirit connection, right? When we're stressed out. And one more thing I like to share is when we are stressed out, we always tend to drop the things that actually would help us the most, like working out and fun. Maybe you just need to add a little bit more fun into your day. And I know that might sound like, oh my goodness, I don't have any time in my day to do anything fun. That's when you pull out your day timer or open your app on your phone and just see, because there's somewhere you can add more fun into your day. Because when we focus on fun, then we don't have time for stress. So think about it this way when you're changing anything in your life. It's not so much about taking things away, but adding healthy things into your day, into your life. And then those other habits that aren't so great will slip away. Going for a walk. And then it's like, oh, I don't have as much time for TV. Well, that's okay though, right? Like, I'm not saying no TV. I never do because I use that. I watch an episode of something usually every day. It's okay. Whatever works for you. But focus on the things that you like to incorporate in your day, into your week, into your month. And then the other things have less space in your life. Another way to look at it is picture yourself 5 to 10 years later. What would your life look like if you could just live the life you wanted without stress? Or like I said earlier in the episode, we all have stress in our lives. We all have stress points. Especially being a parent, definitely happening. Like I can't control none of us can control life. Let's face that. So there's going to be things that pop up that are without our control. So, but what would your life look like? How would you handle the stress? What would your life look like? Like, don't even focus on the stress even. Like, what would you be doing? What would your life look like? What do you envision yourself doing to move your body in a loving way? What would you be eating if your body didn't crave like refined sugars or, grabbed onto ice cream or chips, or maybe you don't even have that, and that's awesome. Okay? I just know a lot of people, when we reach for foods when we're stressed out, but that might not be you. But if it is, what would you be eating instead? Just think about yourself, your future self. What would your life look like? And sometimes that alone, thinking about that, will help you make the healthy choices that can get you to a life of working through your stress in a different way. Because we are going to have moments in life that happen. Another big thing that I've realized in life is that I can't control everything. I can't change people. That's not my job. I can love people through things and I can support them, but I can't change them. And the moment you let go of certain, I can't control anybody but myself, that alone is a big, huge weight off my shoulders. So it's focus on the things you can control and let the other things kind of fall as they may, and figure out how to work through them in your own ways. But it's one step at a time. One little move in the direction you want to go. I don't want this to stress you out. It's finding what feels good to you, other than maybe, leaning towards food, if that's a thing, like I discovered myself, is finding different things you can lean on, different support. Maybe when you are stressed out, instead of grabbing food, is go for a walk around, your neighborhood or whatever feels right to you. For me, it's once I figured out what foods, there is a whole different thing playing under mine as well. But the moment I cut out anything sugar, I didn't have those cravings anymore. And I found that all my tools that I use for stress has actually helped. So breathing. And actually my stress levels are a lot lower now that I have the candida getting under control. It's amazing. So sometimes it's even a deeper thing. It might not just be the stress. It might that you might need to work on your gut health. So sometimes it's reaching out for support in other areas. Like I'm working with my naturopath. So sometimes it goes deeper. And as you get to know yourself better, you can listen a little bit more to your body and to your mind. And that's why the first important key is awareness. So I hope this has helped. Take a deep breath in now. Let it all out. And start your day on the right foot. You got this. Little things in the right direction will you'll make big results. Seriously. I'm saying this because I've just been there, where I was it was just a couple weeks ago that I was almost shaking, trying to get sugar in my mouth. It's I have to have it. And now I don't. I haven't had sugar, any sugar, and I'm talking vegetables, anything, because I'm can't. I gotta help the candida in my gut. But I haven't had anything in 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks to the day that my naturopath said, look, you're doing a really good job with your eating, but with the candida, you got to do more. And I had to drop a lot of foods off so I can stop feeding it. The moment I did that, my whole world has changed. So I'm not saying that stress is leading to candida, but it is definitely, it plays hand in hand. I'm just sharing this with you because that was my underlining stress point. And it actually makes sense for how everything happened this year so far, where I had no energy, where I had this crazy rash all over my body, lots of things. So sometimes it's a deeper thing, but it all starts with being aware of your actions, aware of what do you lean on when you're stressed out? And then you can figure out and go a little deeper or a lot deeper. So it's just becoming mindful and aware of what is going on. And I know that might not be what you want to hear when you're stressed out. You're I just want a quick fix. Well, you can definitely do breathing techniques. Go for a walk. Jump on the trampoline with your kids. Little things, right? Go have fun for a little bit. Those are they help you through the stressful times. But if there's something deeper, or like you want to just get to a better place. It's figuring out why and what you do when you are stressed out. Like, why are you stressed out? And it could just be that you have too much on your plate, and maybe it's about asking for help more. There is so much to unpack here. So just be gentle on yourself. It is a process, and know that you're not alone. There's stressful times. Like, I actually, when I meet up with my friend, I'm dropping the kids off at school, and I'm always like, it's such a morning. This week, actually, though, I was like, there was times like my son, like I have two highly sensitive children, and I'm sensitive myself, so at least I understand my kids. But there was like a shoe incident where my son, just like his hiking boots didn't feel good. I'm like, okay, we'll try on the running shoes, and stuff didn't work. I'm like, well, we ran out of shoe choices. We're going to have to work through this. Like, let's get going. And just like one step at a time. But I let go of the fact that they were going to be late for school. I'm like, we're trying. I'm trying my best. I wasn't dragging my feet. But I was like, I just let go of the need to be at school on time. It's like, we'll do our best, and there we go. I actually just realized, though, there's a couple things we can change in the morning. So I was being very mindful of our morning routine. I'm like, okay, so I know what I can make some small changes. So sometimes it's just slowing down enough, even in those crazy moments, and having a hard look at things, like, or just like an open mind. And like, okay, I can see how our morning can change a little bit. So that's all it is. And I actually didn't go to my friend and be like, oh my God, like all stressed out. I was a little bit more chill today. And that walk definitely helps. So it's just being mindful of what you're doing and then making little changes. Because I bet you tomorrow, as long as I go to bed earlier tonight and I get up earlier and help the kids, our morning's going to run differently tomorrow, because I have made a commitment to try something new, to try something different and see if it works. And if it doesn't, then we'll tweak it and do it again. That's all we do. That is what life is. Trying something, doesn't work, maybe tweak it a little and go. But the most important thing when you're stressed out is don't forget to breathe. Okay? Breathe through the process. Breathe through it. If square breathing is too much and it makes you stress out more, leave it behind. You can just breathe in, like take nice deep breaths in and exhale it out. It can be that simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Life is complicated enough without you making it complicated. So just take a load off. Take a breath. You got this. You are amazing. And making small changes here and there throughout your life will help you handle the stress better. And remember to get your sleep. And I know that might sound crazy. And if, you have young ones, it might not work. But do the best you can. And always make sleep a priority. If you can't get your full 8 hours in the evenings, then allow yourself to nap during the day. Take it easy. You don't have to run, like go all day long. Do the best you can, obviously. And like every situation is different. So do the best you can with where you are. And little by little, you will feel better. Sending you so much love. Thank you so much for listening today. I am so grateful for you and for being here. Thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.